Hey, Natalie.
Hey, Scotty.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been so
So,
long.
it's been a while. How is the weather? How's the weather been where you are? It's been a little dicey, huh?
Oh, yeah. It went from normal 80 degrees to like a plunge, 0 degrees. It's snowing. There's ice and snow and ice, and
Oh my
it's
gosh.
been crazy to drive in.
Yeah, so what's that like driving around a city like when you're outside of Fort Worth where you don't get a lot of snow, you don't get a lot of ice, like maybe once every few years, right? What's that experience like?
Well, DFW is definitely not made for snow and ice, so everything kind of shuts down. But to the brave adventurers that you see out there, primarily you'll see like Jeeps and Lexus GX, all roaming around having fun. And then there's me with the front wheel drive, and I'm like, well, okay, fine, but it's not all wheel drive. So now we're trying to use the snow mode and gingerly drive without crashing or sliding into anything, and it was definitely an experience.
Yeah, I always find that when I live in a place where they don't get a lot of snow, I want to like go do my grocery shopping and hunker down until the roads are like the sun has been out and cleared the roads in that very natural way. Not
Exactly.
not the salt, not the snow plow, because
Nope.
those can still, you could still have ice and snow and slush on the road even after the city has tried to clear the road. So I find that once the sun has done its job, then I'm comfortable going back out. But so did you go out and drive?
Yes, so I had to drive to the airport, and let's just say it was a lot of slush, and you could tell that a lot of people were inexperienced with driving in the snow, and a lot of the vehicles here in DFW are not made for snow adventures. So it was a little sad because we all wanted to have fun, and even though we weren't, trying to go out actively, it was because we had to.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wish I had a different vehicle that would have been better for that kind of weather.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you see any Subarus on the road?
Lots of Outbacks, that's for sure. I
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
one of those.
And that's the part of the magic of the Subaru Outback is you're prepared no matter what the weather throws you. So regular sunny day, you're all good, but that day when all of a sudden a snow squall rolls in or the with that weather storm, they were not predicting. We got ice and snow here in central Texas, and they were not predicting that at all. We were predicted to have nothing.
I
And
know
then all of a sudden we had, I don't know,
everything.
a week of freezing temperatures and significant snow. So that's why Subaru lovers love their cars is because they're always ready for everything. But they tend to live at places where there's
Yeah.
more of everything, right? And so that's a nice intro to our guest this week, Nikkie Riedel, who is the Carline Planning Manager for the brand new Subaru Outback. And I have to say, and she's very modest, so she will not say all the things, but we'll leave a link below to the story, to our review on the Subaru Outback and our first drive. She was a little modest about all the personal passions that she put into planning this car, and not so much about what she thought about the car, but what she wanted to know from customers, from owners, from buyers, from dealers, from enthusiasts, from the engineers who maybe would see a better way to do something but not speak up because they wouldn't understand that there was a need for that. Drawing on all of those different people to come up with what is the new Subaru Outback, that was her job. And I can't even imagine the herding of cats that must have been. But it was incredible, and it was incredible to hear her story about how she became a planner of new cars, which is a very specific thing.
And it's really cool.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the conversation with Nikki Riedel. So we're out here in the wilds of Arizona with Nikki Riedel from Subaru. And The Subaru Outback, which if you haven't seen the story and you haven't seen the video, go over and check it out. There is a story on A Girl's Guide to Cars, and there is a video over on our YouTube channel, or at least there will be, if it's not there yet, but there will be. And this is the 2026 Subaru Outback, something we've been waiting for a long time, because Subaru has completely redesigned this car top to bottom. It is their moneymaker. It is the most, or at least in my opinion, I don't know if that's actually true, but in my opinion, Subaru Outback is like, that's the quintessential Subaru. It is the one that does it all, that we love so much. It was you said it was the first of the crossover class of Subarus. So the Subaru Outback is Nikkie's baby, and she's going to tell us a lot about that car, but she's also going to tell us about building a career in automotive. So tell us what your title is, Nikkie.
So I am the Carline Planning Manager for Outback, Legacy, Ascent, and some development vehicles.
What does that mean?
So that means that I work directly with our engineers and our teams in Japan to develop a vehicle, and we kind of partner with them to make sure that we're building it in a way that our American owners will want. So we do a lot of market research and a lot of testing and surveying to make sure that we are getting good data over to Japan so that the engineers can work their magic and make the car exactly what our owners want.
So if you love your Subaru Outback, Ascent,
Legacy,
if you love it, she's your girl.
Yeah.
If it needs improvement, she's your girl.
I'm also responsible for that, yeah.
So let's go back. Let's step back a little bit. Where'd you go to college and what did you study?
So I went to a liberal arts school in Pennsylvania called Lycoming College, and I actually have an art degree.
Wow.
Yeah, I had like a minor in marketing. International marketing was really my personal focus. So this is a little bit of art and creativity.
So you graduated from college and you said, I want to go work in the auto industry.
No, I didn't quite make a straight line there.
What did you do after school?
After school, I worked for a home decor company. It was a British company, and we sold wallpaper and home decor to stores like Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, Sherwin-Williams, that kind of thing. And that's where I really learned product management and how to manage a product portfolio. So everything from mix and SKUs and rating performance of the product all the way to the pricing and all of that. So I learned a lot there. And then I was really loving that job, doing a great job. And I met my husband, and he worked for Subaru. And I would be on a train coming back from New York City exhausted, and he would call me and he would be like, hey, I'm at this Subaru event. Where are you? What are you doing? And I was like, I gotta work for this company because everybody has so much fun at Subaru. All his coworkers were great. So I made the move over. I worked with our retailers first out in the field, so got a good understanding of our customer and our retailers and what they need out of cars too. Moved up to headquarters, did a lot of research for the marketing department, and then product management was always kind of my favorite place, even from my previous role. So I really wanted to get back to that. So I took a role doing data analysis for the product development teams. So I did the data analysis for all car lines for 4 years. And then they pulled me over and I launched our certified collision program on the opposite side of the business. And then a few years after that, came back to product development and was the car line planning manager. So for the last 5 years, this Outback has been my main focus along with the other car lines, but this full model change took a lot of my time.
5 years. 5 years it took to build this, to design and build this new car.
Yeah.
That was basically when that process started when the current model or the last model of the Outback rolled out, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right on the heels of that. So I want to talk about that, but before we do that, you told me this story that I have to say gave me chills. And that was how you became a car girl. So it wasn't just that the husband worked at Subaru and was having fun, but...
So when we first started dating, one of our dates, I guess. He was like, hey, come to an autocross. I'm going to be autocrossing. You can come and hang out. So I went, and I was hanging out with the other wives and girlfriends on the side and watching the guys do their race. And at the end of that day, I said, hey, I'm getting a car. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, there's no way I'm sitting on the sidelines every weekend watching you race. And that's not happening. If we're going to do this, like, I'm going to race too. I'm going to have my own car. So I bought an 02 WRX, and it had a blown engine. So I, step by step, learned how to replace that engine, and coilovers and everything else on that car was done with my two hands. My husband helped me learn how to do that. So I threw and through a car girl. So now I do track days and all that kind of more advanced driving now.
That's amazing. What's your favorite track to drive on?
So we are based in New Jersey. So NJMP, New Jersey's Motor Park, is kind of home base. But I really enjoyed in West Virginia, the track out there. It was much better for my preference. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's because it was the first track that I went on, but it has like a place in my heart.
That's a great track.
Yeah.
And what do you track? What car do you track?
So we have a bunch of cars at my house, so we kind of go in and out. But so the 02 WRX is great. I actually kind of prefer the track days to take the Miata out, because you can really throttle steer in those chicanes, and it's not the fastest car on the track, but that's not really why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the fun of the driving.
Yeah.
So it's just such a fun, it just, being in a Miata just makes you giggle. So
It does, doesn't
it's
it?
just a fun day out.
I'm going to say, like, speed on a track, of course, going fast is the goal, but it's also precision, it's accuracy, it's efficiency, it's all of those things at once. And to me, it's a physical experience. It's really, truly driving the car.
Yeah, like when you nail that chicane and you can just feel the weight of the car is exactly where you want it to be, and it's just like smooth through those turns, and you come out fast because you're hitting all of the just hitting every point that is exactly where you want to be. Like that, there's no better feeling than that.
I know. That's my favorite too. And all the adrenaline that goes with it.
Yeah, of course. I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, so
Yeah.
this definitely plays into my personality.
Let's talk about your role in redesigning the 2026 Subaru Outback. So you started this project 5 years ago. What was the first thing you did? Where did you start?
So when we start a new full model change like this, we like to kind of start from zero and say, like, what are the best parts of this car? What do we think we could improve? And really, I guess because I have such a strong data background, I really leaned into what our customer voice was saying. So really understanding what our current owners love about the car, table stakes, what cannot change, what is really important to them. And then, like, if we're trying to attract a newer customer to bring them into the family too, like, what do they need in the car that maybe we don't currently have? Which is kind of tough with the Outback, because it is like a fan favorite. Like you said, like, it was one of our flagship brand, cars, and everyone loves it. So there isn't a lot that we had to fix necessarily, but to keep innovating and keep it relevant for the industry, like, what do we need to do?
So how did you understand? Did you talk to customers?
Oh, we talked to a ton of customers. So we looked at syndicated surveys. We looked at surveys that we conducted. We did a bunch of focus groups. We did a lot of user testing, just everything you could think of. I pulled every customer advocacy call for the previous 3 years and I read every single one, thousands of calls, just to understand exactly what people were calling in. I mean, if our owners are going to take the time to call us and give us feedback, I think we have an obligation to do our best to accommodate those requests.
And what kind of things did you learn from them that made its way into the 2026 Outback?
So we heard loud and clear that it is a very niche car in a niche part of the market, and they really love that. They didn't want us deviating from where Outback lives in the ecosystem of the segment. They love that it rides like a car, but has the functionality and capability of an SUV. So that was kind of the driving force, is we must keep those things for our owners. They like the ingress and the egress, the ease of getting in and out of the car.
Yes.
They like the visibility. Subarus are really famous for having great visibility, safety, all of those kind of like core tenets of our brand, and particularly the Outback, had to keep all of that enhanced if possible. And then we learned that there was a whole cohort of people who love the car and would love to own the car, but they had certain limitations. So we learned that there's a lot of really tall people that weren't able to buy the Outback because they just literally didn't fit in it. So we increased the roof height 1.4 inches to just give just a little bit more headroom. And then that gave us the ability to have more cargo capacity too, which is something the Outback owner is always happy to have, a little more cargo capacity. They're super adventurous people. They're always doing all kinds of things, and they have a lot of stuff that goes with those adventures. So they're never mad about a little bit more space. So that was probably the only dimensional difference we made with the car, was just giving it that extra headroom.
Other than that, it's the same length.
Yep, the same width.
Same ground height.
Same ground clearance, same wheelbase. The A-pillar is the same angle, so it doesn't feel like a big upright SUV when you're driving it.
That's the slant of the windshield.
Yeah, sorry. So the slant of the windshield feels still like the original. We did make the back a little bit boxier and more upright, again, for that cargo capacity, and just a little bit more of a modern design. We want to make sure that
the design looks good.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me what you think. I shouldn't say that. What do you think of the design?
So that was another tricky thing for us, because we know that our owners love their car. It's a familiar face. So it was really tough to thread that needle from updating it and making it kind of fit the personality of our Outback customer, which is really rugged and capable. We wanted it to look rugged and capable, but without kind of losing the specialness of, is that a word? Specialness of the Outback.
That's a good word. Yeah.
So we really tried to, without changing the dimensions too much, just change with visual cues to make it a little more horizontal, a little more rugged looking. But it still looks like an Outback.
So talk about, you said something in the presentation this morning, you were talking about the center console and a lot of the things that you learned from your customer and sort of that, what I think of as like the command center. It's the screen, it's the console, it's, the gear shifter, key buttons are there. Talk about what that process looked like when you put that together.
Yeah, so a lot of user feedback on that. We even asked some of our owners to take pictures of their center console. Like, don't clean it up. We want to see the everyday look of it, so that we could evaluate where they were kind of problem solving for us, where maybe we could make things a little bit better for them. Cup holders were a really big deal for our owners. They spend a ton of time in the car, road tripping, taking kids to practices and all that kind of thing. So again, like you said, that command center is vital for our owners. So we wanted to make that as ergonomic and as intuitive as we could. So we more than doubled the little cubby space in the front. We put a wireless charger in there. We pulled the charging ports forward so they're easy to get to, so you don't have to pull all your stuff out.
If you have man hands, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You can now you can reach the USB ports. And I'm going to say, like, there's people who can't reach them if they're buried in there. Yeah.
And we don't want anything that feels annoying in the car, right?
Yeah.
We should just fix it. So those were some pain points we fixed. We have physical HVAC buttons now, so everything isn't in the center ID information display. So that's important for people who want gloves, don't want to worry about distracted driving as much. It's much easier to just hit a physical button. So we brought those back for the HVAC, and then we identified 4 key features that people were like frequently used apps in the infotainment that we pulled out and made physical buttons in that center console. So be it ignition start stop, the surround view monitor, the auto vehicle hold, and traction control are just right there.
Auto hold, my very favorite feature. If anybody who knows me knows that's my favorite feature. That and the other one that we did this morning on the multimedia system. Hey, Subaru.
Oh yeah, we have the voice recognition, which is all new software.
Yeah, but it's voice activated now. Instead of just push a button and the thing works, you can just say, "Hey, Subaru," and it works. And how many people will love driving around saying, "Hey, Subaru"? Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's not, and I think a lot of our owners name their cars. They have such a strong relationship with their Outback that, like, we get lots of letters saying, like, "Oh, this is Phoebe, this is Dottie, this is, my Outback." That having that language relationship with the infotainment now is kind of like how our owners have been interacting with their cars all along.
So that you did something really interesting in the cargo area. And by the way, this is a standard feature across all trims. Talk about this cargo management system and where this idea came from.
So I will say my experience as a mom played a big role in trying to optimize that rear area. We did get a lot of feedback from owners saying they use their Outback for so many different things that they want it to be reconfigurable for everything that they want to do. So that really sparked some creativity. And actually, I have to say, our engineers had a lot of fun trying to solve for a pretty complex problem. And I think they did a great job because we have this multifunctional cargo cover now. So instead of a single-use tonneau cover that's a bit big and bulky, they developed a really cool multi-cover that is like kind of a piece of fabric that has multi-hooks on it and sets in different configurations. And my personal favorite configuration is what we call hammock mode, where it just kind of gives you a bit of a hammock and then it zips closed so you can conceal the storage. But I love it for kind of storing all the stuff that you just keep in the car all the time, but you want to be able to still use your cargo space. Or when you're grocery shopping, this is like my favorite. You can put your chips and your bread and your eggs and things you don't want getting smashed while you're driving up in that hammock area. And then you can put all your bags underneath.
Yeah. And it is a hammock. It just hangs in there.
Yeah.
And then you can also take it and attach it towards the edge and let it hang over the bumper for tailgating.
Yeah.
If you want to sit in the tailgate to watch the Memorial Day parade when your kid's on the sports team and marching.
Yeah, I mean, Subaru owners always like to say that they think their car looks better when it's got a little dirt on it, but that's not great for your pants when you're trying to sit at the parade.
Right.
So you just clip it in toward the bottom and then it hangs over. And if that gets all muddy and gross, it doesn't really matter because it is machine washable. So you just take this tonneau cover out and throw it in the wash and you're back to square one. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What's your favorite feature in the new Outback?
So I think the quietness of the cabin was a significant improvement. I think Outbacks have always been kind of notorious for having a good bit of wind noise, but I think it is markedly quieter than the previous generation. So I'm really proud of the engineering team for solving for that. I think having the 800-pound roof rail capacity is also something that our owners are really going to love. Having that extra capacity makes a difference for them. And of course, just so much of my life went into getting that center console right that I kind of have a soft spot for that.
So you guys made a lot of changes based on the lifestyle of the Outback owner. But you really also had to do a pretty thorough job in communicating that throughout your company. Talk about what that process looked like, matchmaking what customers want and need and those ideas to the engineers and the leaders who need to really understand this to make it happen.
Yeah, well, so changing one of our best sellers is always kind of a scary proposition. So I think we all agreed that Outback's been around for 30 years and we just had to make sure that we were keeping it relevant for the market, meeting customers where they were. So I think as long as we all agreed on that premise, we could move forward. I will say that Subaru executive team is incredibly open-minded and we could have really honest, open conversations. So I'm more than a few steps below the CEO, but they were always really open conversations where they looked at the data with us and communicated together. I think the engineers always saw everything as like kind of a fun challenge and how could we keep doing incremental, continuous improvement. And there aren't a ton of like huge changes like all at once, but a lot of little things that our owners were just like, well, this could be a little bit better and this could be a little bit better. And the sum of the parts is really a great story.
And so what kind of exercises did you ask the team to go through to really understand what it is that you wanted and needed?
Well, I will say that the engineers were up for pretty much anything. So we took them to Costco, and so they could see how people were loading and unloading their vehicles. I took the project manager surfing one day so that we could use the roof rails. He's a big surfer, so that made sense. We went to a children's museum one day, and so that they could see how the moms were getting kids in and out of the cars. I took a whole carry-on. Actually, one of my colleagues took a whole carry-on of bottles to the test track and drove around and tried all different cup holder configurations. So we did all kinds of crazy things just to make sure we were doing, what our customers are doing.
Did you test out car seats, child passenger car seats?
Well, so I personally had a car seat at the time. My son was 4 when we kicked off this project. He's almost 9 now. So I definitely had some feedback about car seat optimization. And so I think that we've made some incremental improvements there. Yeah, it's just kind of living in the car as an owner, personally, as a mom, and as seeing all of the feedback. It was really interesting if somebody said something like, oh, I don't know where to put my phone cord. And like, if that's not something I ever thought about, I was in the car and I would be more attentive to what that experience really looked like. And people were using their cup holder. So then the usability of the cup holder went away, or it was wrapped around their shifter, which isn't the best thing in the world to do. Or it was just kind of on the floor and then somebody's muddy boots would come in and break it.
I know that experience. I've had people do that in my car. So I get it.
Yeah, so like, how can we help solve for that? So we
Yeah.
made this little cord clip off to the side, keeps everything up and out of the way. So even just little things like that, I would read feedback from a customer and be like, all right, it's maybe a little challenge, but if it's a daily frustration, let's see how we can fix it.
So let me ask you this. What empowered you at Subaru to feel like you could do this job? Where does that come from?
That's a great question. So I kind of have moved around the business a bit, like I said. So I have a really great network. I have a lot of great colleagues that work with me and respect my work on the US side and the Japan side. I had a really great relationship with the project managers in Japan, so that gave me the confidence to kind of meet them where they are. I have done over a decade of customer research for the company, so I feel like I know the customer very, very well. And I have a very strong product management background from my previous roles at other companies. So I feel like, that kind of all culminates into you gotta know who you are and believe in yourself. And I think having that confidence, particularly as a woman in automotive, being able to stand up in front of a room full of male executives and male engineers and male project owners and just say, hey, listen, like, I come with a pretty good resume and I deserve to be heard.
And so how do you address, or what advice do you have to other women who see what you're doing and they want to do the same thing, or they want your confidence, or they want to find that next opportunity?
You've got to just do it, and you'll prove to yourself that it's not as scary as it seems. And you do it a few times, and you go out on a limb and you say it, and you kind of hold your breath, and they're like, okay, and you're like, oh, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. I would say particularly at Subaru, everybody's pretty open-minded. It's not a toxic environment where you have to worry about that. So if you feel like you are in a toxic environment where you're not being heard, then you should go find another place. Because there are some places that just won't hear you. Subaru is not at all one of those places, so I feel like I'm in the right place to have I don't have to be scared to express myself. And yeah, I think it's an incremental thing, right? Like, you do it once and it's terrifying, and the next time it's a little less scary. And as you prove to the teams that you do know what you're talking about, and they can see the data and reflect what you're saying, like, you really gain credibility. And I have a whole network of people now who really trust me.
That's amazing. So she had the baby and now she's leaving. So you are moving on to a new role.
Yeah, I am very lucky that Subaru really embraces everyone knowing every part of the business, because at least in my experience, you learn something different every time from I've taken, everything I did with Outback is a culmination of what I've learned in my experience. So I'm going to take a lot of my customer experience and my knowledge of who our owners are and what they want, and I'm going to be moving over and working with our retailers for the ownership loyalty experience. So helping them optimize the interactions with our owners at the retail stores to make sure that we're delivering on that Subaru Love Promise.
I hear there's going to be merch.
So sales really loves merch. So I don't know how much I'll be involved in the merch specifically, but yeah, we we have the Subaru Loves Pets right now. If you buy a Subaru, I think maybe it was in October, but they have these little new Subaru Outback. So it's a dog toy. It's a little bark box dog toy looking thing. And it looks just like the new Subaru in the new deep emerald green. And when the dog tears open the dog toy, there's a little 32-ounce Nalgene bottle toy squeaker in it. And that's kind of a nod to this is the first time that Outback's cup holders will accommodate a 32-ounce Nalgene bottle. So
Oh, that's
that's
amazing.
a fun little nod to the enhanced capability of the car.
That's amazing. Well, I'm sad that you're leaving the car planning part of the business, but thrilled that you're going to be interfacing with making things easier for your customers.
Yeah,
And
that's the whole idea,
amazing.
right?
Yeah. So you have an 8-year-old son, and what do you hope that he takes away from your career? He'll grow up having watched you work his whole life. What do you want him to learn from you?
So I think it's really nice to see his generation doesn't really recognize the disparity between men and women. It's just kind of, oh, my mom goes to work and she leads this team and she built this car, and like that's not amazing, you know? And I like that that's normalized for him, that he can see me in a leadership position, and it'll teach him not to be intimidated or worried about having a female leader in his life.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
I think that's important, that he sees that that is all normalized to him. My travel schedule during this whole thing was a little crazy. I was going to Japan pretty often, almost every 6 weeks for a long time. So he saw his dad taking on cooking and cleaning and
Also amazing.
all of that. So I would say that my husband and I have a true partnership. It is a 50-50. I'm in Arizona this week and he is taking care of the house.
What are you? I'm on the train coming from this meeting. What are you doing? I'm in Arizona driving these cars off road.
Paradise.
So finally, you get to have that.
Yeah.
Be that end of the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of comes full circle, right? So I think it's important for my son to see, like, dad is the guy to go to if you're hungry, and it's not always mom, and dad can put you to bed, and mom can run a major project, and all of those things are just normal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Nikki, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
It's so lovely being with you here this week and experiencing the new Subaru Outback. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you do for women in automotive.
Oh my gosh.
So this is kind of a big deal for me.
It's been a little bit of a love fest here today, I will tell you. I watched her presentation this morning and I was like, oh my God, I've got to spend time with her. This is amazing. And so I'm glad we got a chance to do this.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love the commercials with the dogs. They're so cute, but what is the Subaru Love Promise?
So I love those commercials too, and I think that Subaru they really found something that clicked with people, all people, not just Subaru buyers, when they started putting dogs and kids in their commercials. You know what they say? Never follow a baby or a dog, because nobody won't pay attention to you. They'll pay attention to the dogs and the kids. Yeah. But Subaru really leaned into that, and so that love promise is actually where Nikkie's job is taking her next, because she'll be working with dealers to incorporate that love promise at the dealer level. Now, I'm going to say, after meeting her, I think nothing is impossible. I think if anybody could do it, she can do it. She's so passionate. But I'm skeptical. Dealers are very good at understanding what the promise is of the brand, but then doing what's best for the dealer ultimately, which may not be at the, in line with what the brand wants them to do. So even though Subaru dealers are known for being above average when it comes to car dealers, there's no there's no brand that has perfect dealer history
Right.
or dealer relationships with their customers. So I'm hopeful that Nikki is able to break through that sort of glass ceiling or barrier, and create some good relationships, and bring that love promise to the, sort of to the boots on the ground at the Subaru dealership. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Thank you, Natalie, for joining me, and thank you everyone for being here and listening to our conversation with Nikkie Riedel of Subaru. If you are a fan of a Subaru, now you know where a lot of that love comes from in terms of the product, and I think that's something that you'll see. That love is something that you'll see more at the dealer level as well. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast. We will have a link below. There's a link below to our weekly newsletter. All of our news and our podcasts are included in that weekly newsletter, so you'll get everything we do right in your inbox. And thank you to Natalie Marola, our co-host. I'm Scotty Reese from A Girl's Guide to Cars. Thank you very much to Steph Howard, our editor. Music is by Envato Elements. And join us again next time on What Drives Her, the podcast from A Girl's Guide to Cars.